The Houston Texans are finally going somewhere, and I just cannot stop blushing at the fact that we probably have one of the best off seasons in franchise history. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and hype up the Texans and being playoff contenders because we're not, but overall, out of all the teams, we definitely have one of the better off seasons. The 2023 draft was quite possibly the happiest Texans fans have ever been since we were up 24-0 against the Chiefs. God! The last 3 years being a Texans fan have been fucking depressing to say the least. I sat down and watched every single game in its entirety throughout the 11-37-1 record we've had since that damn collapse. Slowly but surely we became less and less relevant, which leads us to the offseason of this year. Now I'm going to go through the process of the Texans and how they literally saved themselves from having just a terrible collapse on all accounts. I want to go through the motions real quick because at the beginning, I really thought the Texans were really going to mess this up. With Nick Caserio on the hot seat and everything, like, damn, bro, it is so easy to see that the Texans would goof it all up again. But no, we're here. Let's go through the motions. So the Texans come off a 3-13-1 record. A horrible record, to say the least, obviously. And what made matters worse is that Lovie Smith, probably knew he was going to get fired. So he ended up winning the last game for us, essentially losing us the top pick to the Chicago Bears. What could have went wrong went horribly wrong for this team. But what goes wrong on this team stretches all the way back to before the season even started. After the firing of Bill O'Brien and everything, Nick Caserio decides to hire David Culley. Fires him after one season, hires Lovie Smith, our defensive fucking coordinator, fires him after one season. So obviously things are looking horrendous for the Texans, and Nick Caserio is looking like one suspicious man because I for one was one on keeping David Culley. He had nothing to work with but still managed to get 4 wins out of the season, and his players played for him. Like, we played hard for him. So I was like, man, this guy must be some really nice motivator. But bam, they fired him out of nowhere. It was hella suspicious, and because of this one move by Nick Caserio, the whole league looks at us as fucking jokes, which I don't blame them. There's no reason why you should fire a coach who hasn't even been able to prove himself. I mean, damn, bro, like, look at the XFL squad we had. Like, jeez, dude, like, obviously he wasn't gonna be able to do anything. But no, certified goofington Nick Caserio decides to fire him after one season. The way that the Texans handled it was such a Texans way to handle it. The final 2 coaching candidates were Brian Flores and Josh McCown, with only one of them having actual head coaching experience. The Texans, though, being certified goofingtons that they are, were leaning towards Josh McCown, which was stupid because Josh McCown had no coaching experience. None at all. But anyways, Brian Flores would sue the NFL, and thus the Texans continued searching. They wanted to pick Josh McCown so bad, but it would look so horrendous. After all this time, they'd pick a white coach who had no experience compared to the African American coach who actually had experience. So then they needed a scapegoat and decided to look to their defensive coordinator, Lovie Smith, and upgrade him to head coaching candidate and make him the new head coach of the Houston Texans. Lovie Smith becomes coach. Lovie Smith obviously has nothing to work with, again, because we have almost nobody on our team. So yeah, the off seasons were pretty bad in previous years, but then we get to this off season. Only you can go up. And that's exactly what the Texans did. They decided to hire D'Amico Ryans, defensive coordinator for the 49ers, and we saw how powerful that defense for the 49ers were this past season, and I was just ecstatic. Having a player that used to play for us as our coach, I mean, wow, like, that's a dream come true for him, dream come true for us fans. Man, the chemistry is already there. So obviously you have new face in the building. We fired Jack Easterby, which is what the fucking cancer that was literally all around our organization this entire time. So obviously that was a really nice step forward. Then we go into the free agent signings this offseason. I mean, wow. Dalton Schultz, Jimmy Ward, a lot of other players that bring a lot of pieces to the Texans table. And honestly, I'm here for it. And then we get to the draft. The NFL draft. So obviously we have the second pick, which is not a bad thing because of course everybody wants to pick Bryce Young. But honestly, I was behind CJ Stroud too. I mean, I really couldn't care less who we picked. Both of these guys really had their moments. So honestly, in my opinion, I really didn't care who we picked as long as we picked one of them. At first, I mean, it was looking like we were going to pick, whoever was left of CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. But rumors would circulate around Twitter that the Texans didn't want to pick a quarterback at 2 and were leaning heavily into picking a defensive player at 2 and instead trading back up with their 12th pick to pick whatever quarterback was left in either Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. This bothered me because there was no way we're going to be that dumb to the point where we'd actually trade up and take the less of the quarterbacks. I mean, come on. Bryce Young and CJ are literally literally miles above anybody else in the draft, and trading up is stupid. Like, there's no question about it. Like, as Shannon Sharp said.
All right, Shannon, would this be the right move or the wrong move for the Texans?
Wrong move. Not having a quarterback isn't conservative. It's stupid.
Like, couldn't have said it better myself. But anyways, as time moves forward, obviously we have these goofy ass mock drafts that want to believe that they have everything correct. Yeah, I get it's all fun and games or whatever, but these mock drafts fucking scared me. The Texans picking Will Levis? Are you serious right now? Hell no. If we even thought of doing that, all of Houston would be under a storm. There would be riots across the city of Houston if anything like that to ever happen. But luckily, that did not. Draft night would come, and the final mock draft I would actually see was this mock draft. I forgot the name of who made it, but it was the Texans picking at 2 and 3. And I was so intrigued because out of all the ones, I was like, hey, maybe that could happen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that could actually possibly happen, but I don't think the Texans are that smart. But lo and behold, they were that smart. They were playing chess while everybody else was playing checkers. We went ahead and drafted CJ Stroud, and oh my goodness, I love CJ Stroud. I already love his character. I already falling in love with this man, bro, and I mean that in the gayest way possible. Anyways, we end up trading up with the Cardinals to pick Will Anderson Jr., and I was just ecstatic, bro. Like, my feet were kicking back and forth. I was blushing. I was twirling my hair. The works, bro. Texans, bro. I mean, you talk about a huge step forward. Look no further to these two picks right here. CJ and Will Anderson Jr., two of the possible 3 top draft prospects in the entire draft. Like, wow, what a success. You gotta be feeling good if you're a Texans fan. And then we go on further into the 2nd round and 3rd round. We trade up to pick wide receiver Tank Dell, and along with that, a lot of other players that bring a lot of production and are quite underrated when it came to the draft boards. Texans probably have the candidate for the most improved team by this offseason alone. Now, I'm not gonna hype up anything like I said, but wow, it feels good to be back, guys. I want to put the word out there, we're back up.